Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Fanfics 2.0 and we are back with new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto Rose from the Eternal Ashes Part 1. It had been a week since Naruto had woken up from the wounds he had suffered in his fight against Kimimaro and Kabuto. They were now on their way back to Konoha, so that Tsunade could take up the mantle of being Hokage. It was during this week that Naruto had finally learned to talk to his sword on his own terms instead of waiting for it to call him into his plane of existence. Otori Teru looked like a full-grown man wearing a torn-up black cloak that hid his entire body from view. His eyes were black and his hair was blonde with orange and crimson highlights going through it. His face was rough, but friendly-looking. He had used this as a way to train at night while he was sleeping. Otori Teru had been helping him ever since to help train up his swordsmanship, and to reach the next stage of his transformation. He learned that next stage would consist of his spiritual energy instead of focusing on the demonic RGY of the QB. Let's just say that he learned a lot lately from his blade. The next phase of his transformation was coming on slowly, but he was able to maintain it for about 1 minute before he got exhausted. But he theorized that it would be enough to take out most enemies in that amount of time. QB and Otori Teru both were amazed by how quickly he took to learning the spiritual energy of the blade, and believed that he would master the next phase in no time at all. "So Jaki ready to be back at the village?" asked Jiraiya, breaking Naruto from his thoughts. "You have no idea, Hirosenin, I just can't wait to see my Hime," said Naruto, which made Shizune and Tsunade smile at the boy's sweetness. After the recovery, Naruto apologized to Tsunade about the comments that he made, and she quickly apologized herself and the two quickly got along. Tsunade told him all about his mother since she had trained Kushina, like Jiraiya trained Minato. In return he told her about how his life wasn't about Hinata most of the time. Shizune and Naruto quickly bonded and soon acted like they were brother and sister. The two also exchanged stories about their adventures, and even showed each other a few jutsu that could help the other in turn. "Well Jaki, we should be back at the village any minute now, and then you can go see your little girlfriend," said Jiraiya. "As long as you don't spy on me for any of your future books, you pervert," responded Naruto. "Jiraiya, you spied on him and his girlfriend?" asked Tsunade silently, which put Jiraiya on edge at the tone of her voice. Well you see, I was just trying to make sure that the Jaki didn't do anything perverted." "You know, said Jiraiya, before he was sent flying across the village thanks to a kick delivered by an angry Tsunade. "Well, I guess you know where the Hokage Tower is, Ba-chan, so I will see you later," said Naruto before he disappeared using his flash step. "I am going to start using honorifics for some characters, correct me if I make mistakes. Dang brat for calling me that, I should beat him to within an inch of his life," said Tsunade before she turned and started towards the tower with Shizune bringing up the rear. Naruto had finally made it across town using his flash step, to which he was close to mastering now that he used it as much as he possibly could. He was now standing outside the walls of the Hyuga compound, walking up to it so that he could see Hinata. However, before he reached the gates to ask the guards if he could see Hinata, the gates suddenly opened with a shout of, "Naruto-kun!" And suddenly he was tackled to the ground by a familiar girl with lavender-smelling hair. "Hey Hinata-chan, did you miss me that much?" asked Naruto with a smile as he hugged the girl back. Then he noticed many of the civilians glaring at him and Hinata, but he didn't mind until he heard one of him muttering something about the demon whore. Suddenly he was gone, and a moment later he was standing on the other side of the street lifting the man who had made that comment by his neck. "Never ever let me hear you call her that again or I will kill you," growled out Naruto, but he released him when he felt a gentle hand on his shoulder. He turned to see Hinata looking at him with concern, and he grabbed her hand and the two of them walked down the street towards the Hokage monument. They didn't speak until they reached the top of the mountain, and were sat against one of the trees. "I'm sorry for what I did, Hinata-chan. I wish you hadn't seen that side of me, but when I heard what that man called you, I couldn't take it," said Naruto sadly. "It's okay, Naruto-kun, this village doesn't deserve for someone like you to defend each and every day," said Hinata with sadness as she held his hand and waited for Naruto to realize what she had just revealed. "Yeah, I guess, but this is my will, wait, you know." shouted Naruto in surprise and fear as he jumped away from Hinata. Hinata smiled a warm smile at Naruto and responded, Naruto-kun, I have known for years now. Most of the Hyuga clan knows since we can see your chakra with our eyes. That's why I have always wanted to be your friend, since you are strong enough to keep even the strongest demon from killing all of us. I just want to know that it doesn't change any of my feelings for you. If anything, this makes me like you even more. Quote, so you really don't care then, Hinata-chan? Naruto looked down for a second before he continued. I'm sorry for not telling you myself, Hinata-chan. I just thought that you would be afraid of me like everyone else is in this village. He said. Then he was wrapped in the arms of Hinata, and he didn't waste any time as he hugged her back for all that it was worth. They both broke apart and looked the other in the eyes before they leaned in and closed their eyes. Naruto felt Hinata's lips touched his and he was suddenly in a world of bliss as he was finally kissing the girl that meant everything to him. He didn't care what the village thought about this as he kissed her. But, soon he heard a few of the villagers muttering about him and his demon whore, and that threw him into a rage. He stood Hinata up and rounded on the villager and disappeared. He reappeared at the villager's throat with his sword unsheathed and his neck. Never ever say something like that ever again while in front of me or I will remove your head from your shoulders, growled Naruto, before he stepped away and walked over to where surprised Hinata was standing. I'm sorry for that, Hinata. Could we perhaps go somewhere less crowded? Asked Naruto, and when he got a nod from Hinata he took her hand and they proceeded to walk to the Hokage mountain. When they got there they sat underneath one many trees and sat there in silence, until Hinata broke the silence. Naruto, you don't have to punish everyone that insults me for dating you. I know they deserve it, but I don't want to see you get in any trouble, said Hinata. I know that, Hinata, but it hurts me when you're sad or if someone is calling you names. If the council wants to make something out of it then they can try, but I am no longer the same person and I will fight for my rights now, said Naruto as he hugged Hinata. But father told me that the civilians have been calling for your execution or banishment even more than usual lately, she said as a few tears came out of her eyes. Naruto leaned down and gently lifted her face up so that he could look her in the eyes. Don't worry about me, Hinata. Old man Sarutobi always prepared for the day something like that might happen. If they try anything then I will be ready, he said as he leaned in to kiss her. What happened next was a very aggressive make-out that lasted for several minutes before they stopped to breathe. Both had flushed faces and were breathing hard, as they laid back once again. I know that I don't have to worry about you getting hurt, but I don't want you to leave me, Naruto. If they did banish you or try and have you executed then I would like to come with you to wherever you go, she said, to which Naruto looked at her in surprise. Hinata, you don't have to come with me, you will always have a life here in Konoha. If I leave I will always be on the run no matter what I do. I don't want that life for you, Hinata, he said as he held her close. Don't you understand, Naruto? Without you I have no reason to live here. You have always been my strength that kept me going. I couldn't live without you in my life, she said sadly. Then she added something else. Father told me that the civilian council has been trying to enact the CRI for Sasuke. I am one of the girls that they want to marry, that creep. What? They are just planning to hand you and other girls to him as if you were a breeding machine that only existed for him. Don't worry, Hinata, I will do anything to protect you from them, even if we have to leave the village, he said as he hugged her even tighter. I wish we could just stay like this forever, said Hinata softly. I do too, Hinata, I do too, he said as he held her. Sasuke Uchiha was mad. No, he wasn't just mad, he was absolutely furious with the way things were going. He had just learned that there was a new Hokage in Konoha, and this one didn't treat him with the respect he deserved. Just like that fool of a Hokage that had just been killed by the man Orochimaru. Then there was the dead last Naruto, who was proving to be anything but a dead last. If he had heard correctly then Naruto was stronger than him now, even though he would never admit it. Naruto had been able to defeat Gaara, a sound Junin that was said to have been an elite and was even able to hold his own against Itachi's partner. Ever since he started using that sword, Naruto has been one of the most powerful ninja the village had ever seen in a long time. I had to have been the sword doing, and Sasuke knew that a weapon like that would easily be able to help him kill Itachi. Yes, that is what he needed to do. He had to get that sword from Naruto. If he could get that weapon, then he would be undefeatable. There was no way that a weapon like that should be used by a weakling like Naruto. Now I just need to get those fools on the council to force him to give me his sword, and all that power will be mine. After that I can go and find Orochimaru and force him to train me. Single quote. Suddenly he heard a noise come from his window and he turned and threw a kunai at whatever made the noise, only to hear a clang as it was blocked. Whoa, hang on there, man. I don't think you want to kill the guy who is here to offer you the chance to come and be trained by Orochimaru. My name is Kidomaru and Orochimaru has sent his personal guard here to escort you to him, said the four-armed Sound Junin. Orochimaru sent you then? I guess I could use some training from him, but first there is business here that I need to attend to. I will be ready to leave in just 3 days, then I will meet you outside the east gates of Konoha, at this time. Sasuke replied, to which Kidomaru only nodded, before he left. Soon I will have the strength to kill you, Itachi, thought Sasuke as he laid down to prepare him for his meeting with the council tomorrow. The next morning found Naruto walking towards the Hokage Tower for a meeting with the council that he was informed that he was to attend. He already had an idea of what this was about, and he wasn't happy about it. But then again Shikamaru was also summoned to the council, so he wasn't too worried. He entered the meeting to find all of the civilian councillors glaring at him, with the shinobi council looking at him with kindness in their eyes. Tsunade was smiling at him, but the two advisors were glaring at him behind her back. Naruto Uzumaki and Shikamaru, Nara, you have been summoned to the council by the Hokage. Do you know why you're here? Asked Tsunade. Not really, Bachan, but I don't think you would call me here if it wasn't important, stated Naruto, who ignored the cries of outrage that came from the civilians and the advisors. Well, we are here to discuss your actions during the Chunin exams last month. It has come to my attention that you, Naruto Uzumaki and Shikamaru Naru, both showed leadership and a grasp for tactics. Furthermore, you both along with Kiba Inuzuka fought against a Sound Junin and saved Hinata Hyuga from being kidnapped by Orochimaru. For these actions I have found it prudent to award both of you with the honor of being a Chunin, said Tsunade with a smile. Hokage, how can you let this thing become a Chunin for our village? Shouted an outraged citizen. Are you questioning the way I do things in this village? Asked Tsunade dangerously. Now what do the two of you have to say for your promotions? Even though it is troublesome to be a Chunin, I will follow any orders that you will have me do, said Shikamaru lazily. I will uphold my position with honor and dignity, until I die, Bachan, said Naruto professionally. Yes, I believe that you will, Naruto. You better not fail me, she said with a smile. Hokage, since we are done with this part of the meeting, I would like to bring up a number of issues that have came to light over the past few weeks, said one of the braver civilian councillors. What is this issue that you want to be brought up then? Asked Tsunade, clearly annoyed. Well, it has come to my attention from a very reliable source that this boy here has stolen an object of someone else's and has been using it, said the councillor. What is this object then, honorable councillor? Asked Tsunade as her and the shinobi's eyes narrowed at him. I have heard from Sasuke Uchiha that this boy here forcefully stole that sword that he has now. I say that we make the brat give it back to Sasuke, said the councillor. So you believe that the arrogant prick of an Uchiha actually owned this sword at one time and that I stole it from him? Your people are so in love with Sasuke, yelled Naruto. Watch what you say, brat, or we will have you killed here for your words, yelled one of the other councillors. You have no right at all to call for my execution. Only the Hokage can order an execution, so stop acting all-powerful. Plus I received this sword from my summons after I passed their test. It is a part of my soul and can be used by no one else, said Naruto. That is a lie. The Uchiha can use any blade that is in this world or the next. Now we want you to give the sword back to its proper master, yelled the councillor. No, he will not. That sword belongs to him, and no one can force him to give up his weapon. I have seen him use the weapon personally, and I must say that he works well with the sword. Now that that is cleared up, do you have anything else you would like to talk about? Asked Tsunade while she glared at the civilians. Oh, so nothing else that has to do with me, then I will take my leave then, said Naruto after a period of silence, but as he was walking out he heard something that would anger him to no end. Yes, we would like to talk about the rebuilding of the Uchiha clan under the CRA. I am proposing that we give him at least 3 wives that are all strong so that the clan will flourish in the years to come, said one of the counselors. Fine, what 3 girls do you have in mind then, counselor? Asked Hiyashi in suspicion. Well, Hiyashi, I was thinking that we have Sakura Haruno, Ino Yamanaka, and your daughter Hanata Hyuga be his wives when he turns 16. Sasuke himself has expressed interest in your daughter, you should be very proud, said the man with a smile, while Hiyashi looked pissed. No, my daughter will not marry the Uchiha in this world or the next. He is arrogant and undeserving of her affection, and I will not stand for such a thing. Besides, my daughter has already been betrothed to someone else, before she was even born, said Hiyashi with anger. What type of lie is this, Hyuga? If she was already betrothed, then why is she currently dating that demon? Asked the counselor as he pointed at Naruto, who had decided to stay. What my daughter does is of no concern to you. As long as my daughter is happy, then I do not care about who she sees. If my daughter still loves this boy when she is 16, then I will allow them to marry, said Hiyashi, to the surprise of everyone in this room, since most believed him to be a very cruel man. This is an outrage, Hyuga. We must give the Uchiha whatever he wants if we want to remain powerful in the years to come, shouted one of the civilians. One clan doesn't change a village, but it is how all the clans work together to survive that shows how powerful a village truly is. Everyone in the village must pull their own weight if they want even the slightest of chances of surviving, came the voice of Naruto. Shut up, brat. How dare you talk during a meeting that doesn't include you? Ambu, arrest this thing, yelled one of the counselors. However, when before the Ambu moved, they were shot a look by Tsunade that clearly stated for them to back off. They stayed back and decided to watch the show carefully. I have every right to speak, as you have already mentioned me by nickname earlier in this discussion. Furthermore, the civilian council has no right at all to call upon the ninja of this village. Only the Hokage can order the ninja to do something. I have studied the laws of Konoha more than almost anyone, and I now know most of the rules by heart, said Naruto, to much of the council's shock. I like this kid, he isn't even afraid of any of the people in this room despite his age. Furthermore, he is completely right, so I say we call this meeting to a close and go home for the day, said Inoichi, as he stood up with his 2 friends. Naruto bowed before leaving, and when he walked into the waiting room to find a smirking Sasuke with his hands held out as if he was expecting some thing, Naruto ignored him and just walked towards the door until he felt someone pull on his shoulder and turn him around. Dope, I think you are forgetting to give me something that belongs to me now, said Sasuke smugly. Team, the Hokage has ruled in my favor in this matter, so don't ever try and take my sword from me again, or next time I will scar you for life. Otori Teru is a sentient sword and chooses its master, and it chose me, so no matter what you do, you will never be able to use him, said Naruto as the 2 glared at each other. You are weak, Dope. A sword like that should be used for one of the elite. I could use that sword to kill my brother and become the most powerful ninja in the world while you will just die, said Sasuke in anger. Whatever. I'm leaving here, team. Go pick on someone weaker than you, since I know that that is the only way for you to get it up, said Naruto calmly as he was about to exit the room, but stopped short when he heard Sasuke's next phrase. Maybe I might just go and meet my wife-to-be, Hanata. I will enjoy making her scream and cry when I'm with her, said Sasuke with a smirk on his face. Sasuke, if you ever lay a hand on her, I will kill you. Besides, Hiyashi has already stated that he will not allow his daughter to marry some prick like you, and has already given permission to one day marry his beautiful daughter. Now if you will excuse me, I am going to go meet with Hanata and then train, he said as he walked out of the building, while leaving a fuming Sasuke behind. Naruto and Hanata spent the next 3 days hanging out, all of them time, and some training, as Hanata wanted to be able to protect herself better. They had already started to develop a better Juken stance for her that utilized her flexibility with her water infinity. At first it took a while for her to go all out against Naruto, but the second she stopped holding back she started to grow in leaps and bounds. Naruto had even showed her a few water jutsu that he learned that would be able to help her in the future. She was much stronger than she was before, and was even able to defeat her sister easily, but also gave Neji a very close fight in one of their spars. That also changed as Neji was back to his old self and became really protective of Hinata, and even threatened Naruto with harm if he ever hurt her. It was early in the morning of the fourth day when Naruto and Hinata were both walking towards one of the training grounds. When suddenly Shikamaru ran up to them panting, it was quite a surprise to see him work up any type of sweat. "Naruto, the Hokage wants us at her office right now. She says that she has a high-ranking mission that she needs us for," shouted Shikamaru as ran past them. "Damn, it must be important or he wouldn't be running like that." "Sorry, Hinata, I will need to see you later," he said as he kissed her cheek and ran off behind Shikamaru. It took them less than a minute to reach the Hokage. "Hokage-sama, what do you need of Naruto and me?" questioned Shikamaru. "We have a shinobi in our ranks who has left the village to go to Orochimaru. I need you two to take a team and bring him back to Konoha at all cost," she said. "It's Sasuke, isn't it? He got that strange mark from Orochimaru and has been acting even worse lately," said Naruto. "Yes, unfortunately we cannot allow Orochimaru to get his hands on the Sharingan, and we still need it. You two will choose 3 others to accompany you on this mission. Do you have anyone in mind that can help you?" she asked the 2 newly promoted Chunin. "Hokage-sama, there are more experienced Chunin out there right now that could do better than us. Why are you choosing 2 new Chunin to do such an important mission?" asked Shikamaru. "There are no more Chunin that we can spare on this mission, Shikamaru, so you two will have to do," said Tsunade. "Fine, then we want to take Neji Hyuga, Choji Ikimichi, and Kiba Inuzuka. Neji can use his Byakugan to find traps and prevent ambushes from happening. Choji can be our heavy hitter, and Kiba should be able to easily track down Sasuke," said Naruto, to which Shikamaru nodded. "Fine, they will meet you at the Eastern Gate in the next 20 minutes. I suggest you use this time to prepare yourselves and say goodbye to your friends," Tsunade said sadly. "Don't worry, Ba-chan, no Geimo team is going to beat us back," said Naruto as he flash stepped out of the room. "Troublesome," muttered Shikamaru as he jumped out of the window. 20 minutes later found the 5 ninja that were going on the mission at the gate saying their final goodbyes to their friends and family. Naruto was hugging Hinata, who was crying. Shikamaru and Choji were talking to Ino, Neji was talking to Tenten, and Kiba was just talking to his dog. Then Sakura ran up to Naruto and punched him in the jaw, sending him down to the ground. She looked pissed and was met with an angry glare from Naruto himself. "Sakura, do tell me why you decided to punch me just now. You monster, if it wasn't for you then Sasuke would have never left the village. You made him feel weak even though he is the strongest ninja this village has ever had. If you don't bring him back then I will make your life a living hell," she yelled. "How dare you blame me for the team leaving, you selfish bitch. He left this village for the sole reason of getting power to kill his brother. Don't worry though, Sasuke will be coming back, and if he resists, he will be coming back without an arm if I must," said Naruto angrily as Sakura gasped in horror. "How can you say such a thing, Naruto? You are actually a demon," she shouted before she got slapped across the face by Hinata, who was now glaring at Sakura. "Don't you ever call Naruto a demon again. He keeps us all safe from the QB, and if I remember they're going to find your traitorous friend. Not the other way around," said Hinata in rage, which made Sakura cry and run off. "Well, that's my girl," shouted Naruto as he kissed her on her lips and turned to the others waiting for him. "Okay, here is what we know of the mission so far. Last night Sasuke Uchiha was spotted leaving the village with 4 ninja from the Sound Village. Our job is to catch up to these ninja and bring Sasuke back whether he wants to come back or not. Now let's get going and finish this mission before the day is over," said Naruto as he jumped into the woods with the rest following behind him. Now just to let you know, this will be a time skip to the part where Naruto faces off against Kimimaro for the very last time. Here is the part where my story will take a major turn from the original plot. So Kimimaro, we meet again. I was hoping that we would have solved our differences by now. said Naruto as he stood there with Otori Teru in a guard position. Yes, Naruto, I was hoping that, but as long as you are against my master I will fight you. He is everything to me and even promises that he will find me cure for my sickness when we get back. Now let's conclude this fight once and for all, said Kimimaro as he adopted the first stage of his cursed seal, and 2 bone swords came from his arms. You actually believe that Orochimaru can find a cure to your sickness, when he couldn't even heal his own arms? I can Tsunade heal your arms, and offer you a home away from Orochimaru for the rest of your life, said Naruto. I cannot believe that Orochimaru would do that to me. Until it happens I will fight for him, retorted Kimimaro. He is only using you as a tool to get Sasuke for himself. The second you lose your usefulness he will leave you behind or even have you killed for a failure that isn't your fault. You are serving a master that doesn't care for you at all. It was all a lie, shouted Naruto. You don't know what you are talking about. Lord Orochimaru cares about every one of the people who serve underneath him, shouted Kimimaro in rage as he charged at Naruto. Naruto had just achieved something most people, including Orochimaru, could ever achieve. He had just made Kimimaro doubt his master and attack in a blind rage. Naruto easily dodged each and every attack that was sent at him by this rage-induced Kimimaro. The attacks were easily read and counted by Naruto, and soon Kimimaro was covered in deep cuts courtesy of Otori Teru. Kimimaro, I used to know someone just like you. He served his master faithfully and gave his life for his master. However, his master still died that day, and in his final breaths he told us that he wished he had never treated his servant the way he did, but rather as a son. Can you ever say the same thing for Orochimaru? Has he ever showed any sadness for one of the ones he calls his servants, when they die? Asked Naruto when the two of them separated. Kimimaro looked up with tears in his eyes and looked at Naruto. He was breathing heavily and cut up from multiple attacks. Orochimaru is the only one who has ever treated me with kindness. When my clan was killed off I was all alone, until he found me and started to train me. If I left him, where would I ever be able to go? I just can't ever be able to betray that kindness no matter what, shouted Kimimaro as more tears came down his face. I know that this would never happen, but in my story it would have to happen if I wanted to continue this story with its current direction. I know how you feel, Kimimaro. In my village I was hated by everyone and no one ever treated me kindly until I turned 6. On that day a man approached me with a proposition to be trained by him, and I was overjoyed. He taught me how to be a ninja, but in the end I was betrayed by him when he tried to destroy my memories so that he could turn me into his own personal weapon. I was able to escape with most of my memories, but before I could escape he erased my memories of his name and his face. But I escaped since I knew that what he was doing was wrong. You are the exact same way, Kimimaro. Break away from his chains, said Naruto gravely. What will I do then if I do break away from him? He will just kill me then, said Kimimaro as the two ninja heard the sound of projectiles flowing through the air. They jumped back closer to each other and saw that there was a team of 3 sound Junin facing them. The middle one was the tallest with black hair, and had a large sword strapped to his back. The other 2 had masks covering everything but their eyes. Kimimaro, I am sorry to say this, but Orochimaru gave us orders to eliminate you on this mission. It has come to his attention that you are getting too strong for your own good, and he didn't feel like waiting for his poison to finish you off, said the leader. What do you mean poison? Kimimaro shouted in confusion. Oh my, I don't think we were supposed to tell you that information. Oh well, I guess it doesn't hurt since you and that genin will be dead in a few minutes. You see, Orochimaru has been mad lately at your recent failures, like failing to grab the Hyuga and nearly losing in your fight last week. So he decided to poison the day after the invasion. You see, he had actually been able to cure you, but since you failed to grab the Hyuga, then he decided that you I didn't deserve to live, said the tall man. I'm sorry, Kimimaro, this isn't the way I wanted to prove my point, said Naruto as he put his sword back into his guard position. Don't be, Naruto, it seems like you were right and I was wrong. Is there any chance that I could join the Leaf against Orochimaru? Asked Kimimaro as he made 2 more swords. It seems like you still have some fight left in your, Kimimaro. You two take the genin and come and help me with the traitor, said the leader before he left at Kimimaro. Be careful Naruto, those two work well together, one has good close range and the other has some powerful long range attacks, said Kimimaro, before he jumped off to engage the leader. Why do we have to fight the Genin? This should take absolutely no time at all, said the one with the sword drawn. Don't worry about it, I heard this one can put up quite a bit of fight. Haven't you heard about the blonde Konoha Genin that can hold his own against Chunin? Said the other that had Senbon needles. I don't know where you get your information, but I have been promoted to Chunin so, said Naruto as he raised his sword. So the brat likes to use swords. I got this, support me if I can win, said the taller one. You get to have all of the fun, just kill the brat quickly, said the shorter one. Are we going to fight or are the two of you just going to talk? Said Naruto as he dodged a quick slash from the taller one. I'm going to kill you now, said the taller one as he continued to swing at Naruto who was blocking all of the attacks easily. He saw an opening after a minute of blocking and knocked the man's blade aside, giving him access to the man's neck and a killing blow. Before he could finish the strike though, a series of Senbon launched at him forcing him to dodge back. Damn, that was close. I guess we will actually have to work together to kill him, said the one with the sword. You can try, said Naruto as he disappeared in a flash and showed up behind the ninja with the Senbon and slashed him across the back. I should let you know now that I was holding back against you, said Naruto as the ninja fell to the ground. Damn, how did you get over there? Yelled the man with the sword. I can multiply my speed by 10 using a special technique. Now it is about time you die and I go capture a traitor, said Naruto as he disappeared again to above the man. He swung down and a blade of wind flew from the blade and cut the ninja in half while he was still stunned about Naruto disappearing. That wasn't too hard. I guess the intensive training that QB has been putting me through lately is starting to truly pay off, said Naruto as Kimimaro showed up again. It seems low, Orochimaru believed me to be weaker than I actually am, said Kimimaro. He probably believed that we would both be near death or he would have sent more, said Naruto, before he turned his head to the direction where he had just heard shouting. Naruto, it seems the flames of youth flow brightly in you, shouted Lee as he made it over to where Naruto and Kimimaro were still standing. Lee, what are you doing here? Shouldn't you be resting after your surgery? Asked Naruto in confusion. I was, but I felt much better now, so the Hokage said that I could come and help with the sand team, said Lee proudly. So Gaara is here, and why aren't you surprised about Kimimaro here not trying to kill us? Asked Naruto. Well, Gaara actually apologized to me about the whole crushing me thing, and that guy there doesn't look like he wants to fight right now, said Lee as he flashed one of his smiles. Well, okay then, Lee, I need you to do something. Kimimaro here was poisoned and betrayed by Orochimaru. He has given his support to the Leaf. I need you to take him back to Tsunade and tell her that he was betrayed and is now loyal to us. Tell Shikamaru and Kiba, since they have fought him before and know who he is, said Naruto, to which Lee nodded and turned to Kimimaro. What about you, Naruto? Can you retrieve your comrade? There is no doubt in my mind that there are more Junin with your comrade now, said Kimimaro. Don't worry about me, I unlocked a new level of power that far surpasses my other form. I should be able to get him back, said Naruto as he got up and flash stepped to make up for lost time. So we are going back to Leaf now then? Asked Kimimaro as Lee shouted an affirmative. Naruto flashed through the trees faster than most people could ever hope to achieve. He knew that Sasuke was tired from being carried in that barrel, but if there were sound Junin helping Sasuke, then they would be carrying him. Finally he reached the bottom of the Valley of the End, and the two massive statues of Madara and the first Hokage. It was here that he saw 5 sound Junin on top of Madara's head with Sasuke in the middle of them. Sasuke, what the hell are you doing? Siding with the sound village is treason, shouted Naruto as he landed on the first Hokage's head. The sound ninja moved aside so that he could talk to Naruto face to face. Did they actually send such a piece of trash to bring back me, an elite? I was expecting a full team of Junins, not some crappy genin that can't even make a Bunshin, said Sasuke as a few of the Junin smiled in victory as they thought that this would be an easy battle. Believe what you want, Sasuke, but I am bringing you back to the village in your pink-haired whore. I have nothing against Sakura, but it just fits when Naruto is banished to make her a bitch. You can try, or are you forgetting that there are also 6 Junin level ninja here? Asked Sasuke with arrogance. All that I see are a bunch of Junin that barely passed their exams and got assigned to a mission to escort a genin with an ego the 6 of Uranus. Said Naruto with a bored expression on his face which seemed to anger the other ninja even further. I am going to enjoy ripping out that brat's throat, said the ninja on the far right. He was a huge hulking man and had metal claws attached to his wrists. The next to his left was a woman with brown hair and a fairly short stature. She was armed to the teeth with kunai, shuriken, and senbon. The one at the center looked like the biggest threat as he had a ninjato strapped to his back and seemed to have the kanji for earth tattooed to his forehead. He had a calculating look in his eyes. The other two looked extremely similar and were most likely twins. They both had black hair. One had a massive sword and the other had a massive battle axe the size of Naruto himself. You scum won't even be able to touch me, shouted Naruto. You brat, I am going to rip you apart, shouted the man with the massive sword as he leaped across the canyon at Naruto with his sword raised high ready to crush Naruto. Wind release, drilling air bullet, shouted Naruto as he shot a ball of compressed air at the man who was in the air. It hit dead on and exploded in mid-air, sending the man crashing back to his friend's group. Let's go wild, yelled Naruto before he disappeared from view. He arrived in the air in a flash of life as he swung Otori Teru down, creating a sharp blade of wind that forced the group of ninja to separate. The leader made huge pillars of rock come from the face of Madara, forcing Naruto to use one as a platform to jump to the one with the massive sword, who was still holding his chest. The one with the battle axe saw Naruto coming and swung his axe, but he slid underneath the blade and cut the man with the sword head off. This time the girl started to throw senbon at him, but he quickly dodged them using the flash step and started after her to remove her as a threat. Suddenly the large man with the metal claws blocked him off and started to attack him, then the leader came up and used his ninjato to help. They both broke off from their attack at the same time when the man with the battle axe came down, smashing it into Naruto's blade, causing dust to rise up from the crater. When the dust cleared, they saw Naruto in a small crater blocking the massive axe with his sword. Sasuke used this time to launch a few fireballs at Naruto, who ducked under the axe and used its falling momentum as a shield from the fireballs. Naruto flashed away from the center of the group and appeared on one of the feet of the first Hokage. Well, congrats on beating me with my sword being unsealed, but don't worry, I have something new planned for this battle, said Naruto as he pointed his sword at the group of ninja. Now watch as I show you the final form of Otori Teru. Fly to the four corners of the world, Otori Teru, he yelled as tornado formed around him, blocking him from view. Suddenly the tornado exploded, sending a shockwave of energy across the valley. When they regained sight of Naruto, they saw that he was different. He now white robes that had azure color trims on the edge. His sword was all black still, but instead of having a crimson hue, he now had an azure hue to it. He grinned at him before he disappeared into wind. Think like how smoke disappears when a car passes through. What the hell happened to that brat? Shouted the man with the claws. I don't know, it seemed like he just became the air around him, said the one with the axe as they all started staring off into different directions. Konpeki Rakurai, came the voice from Naruto above them, but when they looked up they saw a blast of white light surrounded by an azure aurora came from the sky and head to the middle of their group. They all jumped away from each other, which would prove to be one of the biggest mistakes that you see old ever make against Naruto. The man with the claws was in the air looking both ways before he saw the outline of the kid in his vision. He swung his claws at him only for his claws to pass through the near transparent Naruto. Missed me, mocked Naruto before he stabbed the man right through his heart, quickly killing him. The others quickly regrouped to find one of their numbers already dead. Where the hell are you? Shouted the leader. I'm everywhere, I am nothing more than the wind, said Naruto in a voice that actually sounded like it was coming from everywhere. Dope, where are you? Shouted Sasuke as he launched a ball of fire into a random direction. I am right here, came Naruto's voice in the middle of the group. They turned to see the wavy image of Naruto inside their formation. The one with the axe swung down, but the blade went right through Naruto, just distorting his image a bit. Naruto swung his sword through the air while it glowed blue. Konpeki Rakurai. The blast of white and azure energy tore into the man with the axe, and killed him quite brutally. The leader then performed a jutsu to cause a tomb of rocks to cover the transparent image of Naruto. However, the ninja quickly saw that this wasn't going to work as colored air flowed from the cracks and reappeared in the form of Naruto. He launched himself at the girl and slashed her across the chest before she could respond. She would live if she found medical attention. Then he turned his attention on the leader once again and started to do hand signs. Wind release, flying wind shurikens. He yelled as hundreds of shurikens made of wind flew at the man and ripped him to shreds. Finally he turned his attention onto the last remaining member of this group. So Sasuke, are you going to come willingly or are you going to fight? Asked Naruto with a smirk. What the hell is this? How are you strong enough to kill all of them without even getting hurt? Asked Sasuke, who had his Sharingan activated and two kunai held in reverse grips. Is that all that you wanted to know? Wow, I thought you would have some harder questions. Well, I guess your Uchiha aren't very smart, good at fighting yes, just not good at thinking. So why don't you just kneel then like a good dog? Said Naruto as he got closer to Sasuke. How dare you mock me, you orphan piece of trash? Shouted Sasuke as he charged Naruto. Wrong move, whispered Naruto as he dodged the one kunai and brought his sword down to Sasuke. Right before he hit though he stopped and whispered, Konpeki Rakurai. The attack exploded with much less force than what it did the last few times, but it was enough to send Sasuke flying unconscious and bleeding from multiple cuts. Naruto floated over to Sasuke's unconscious body and reverted out of his release. He looked down to Sasuke and reflected on all that had happened since the two boys met and couldn't help but let a tear slip down his eyes. What happened to our friendship, Sasuke? Asked Naruto to himself as he picked Sasuke up and flash stepped back to Konoha and the waiting arms of destiny.